So yesterday when watching that video that I had made, I noticed a small detail that I stated incorrectly. And that was, I said the B-41 was basically made out of tinfoil and I could make it for 40, 50 grand. I stated the wrong weapon accidentally there. What I meant by that was the B-61. And that is a newer weapon being stockpiled into the U.S. nuclear arsenal. And it is dubbed as a replacement for the B-53, which was a bunker buster that used laydown detonation to bust bunkers below and yielded approximately 10 megaton. So, with that said, let's talk about the B-61. Let's cascade this. So, what is the B-61? Well, that is supposed to be a bunker buster, which is definitely not an effective bunker buster. That is for certain. I mean, unless you're looking to, bust bunkers underneath a little sandcastle on the beach. So the way that works is it has what is called dial-a-yield. Okay, and the way that dial-a-yield works is it adjusts the amount of deuterium tritium gas that is injected into the pit of the primary, and it also changes the implosion by it uses strategic implosion, and the way that that's done is instead of triggering all of the detonators around the high explosive, it will strategically trigger different detonators around the that make up the high explosive, and what that will do is change the compression of the implosion by only triggering certain detonators placed around the explosive there. So you can change it to a linear implosion just by how the detonators are triggered, which will bring down the yield significantly. You can there's many different arrays of how you can trigger the detonators to implode the primary, and that will effectively step down the yield, which will dial it down. And when you're dialing it down in the higher ranges, then you use the deuterium tritium gas and adjust the boosting as well. So that's how that works. So the B-40 or the B-60, see, I almost did it again. So the B-61. What kind of weapon is that? Well, it's trash. I mean, they're all trash anyways. I mean, but they're just, basically trash incinerators. That's it. So is it overpriced? Yes, absolutely. Astronomically overpriced. I mean, you're paying so many millions of dollars for that thing, and it's literally like $30,000 in fissile material. So, I mean, you can actually produce the fissile material for even less than that. So, depending on what you're paying for the fissile material, there's really nothing there. So, if you're paying higher prices, obviously the fissile material that's involved in there is going to cost you maybe a couple $100,000, but Anyways, so what would I do with that weapon there? Me personally, I would just throw that weapon in the trash. I would take everything out of it, all the fissile material, etc., and just throw the rest of it in the trash and melt it down and scrap it. So, what would I replace that weapon with? Well, to do a job like that, to bust bunkers where there's a bunch of wicked pharaohs sitting in a low place who worship the sun thinking that they're going to be rich down there, um, I use a completely different approach than that because that thing will never penetrate anything. I mean, look at the shell on that thing. I mean, what are you going to do with that? You're not going to do anything with that. That thing's trash. So, my replacement, we're going to talk about a weapon design. So, my replacement for that weapon right there, to effectively hit low places, and I'm talking mile down, no problem. I would, do it on CAD and everything for you so you can really get the full effect, but I don't have time for that. So, my design for something like that to effectively hit a low place down there in the bunker um, would be a completely different approach than that. Completely different. I mean, that design right there, it's too delicate to even hit something. Like, you can't even pound the ground with that because it's so delicate. That type of design is not made to bust bunkers. Those type of designs, no. Those are the wrong types of designs for busting bunkers. This is the correct type of design. So let me explain to you the ultimate in bunker busting. Okay, so my design to handle a situation like that is this. Okay, instead of using an implosion primary for the weapon, the correct way to do that is a gun style weapon. Okay, like Little Boy. So you have like an artillery shell, like gun style piece on this end here with your fissile material bullet, right? Piston. And then you have your sphere down here with the cylinder removed, okay? But instead of uranium 235 for that, because that kicks up the size too much, what I would use there is uranium 233. And the way that uranium 233 is made, obviously, is you put piles of thorium 232 in a nuclear reactor, bombard them with neutrons, and what is bred there is uranium 233. So, I would use uranium 233 there, okay? But I would scale it to thermonuclear. And the way that would be done is, you see, because these the implosion style primaries, those are too delicate to pound the ground. Okay, you need something that's more rugged, a gun style. And the sphere would sit in an encased tungsten carbide shell, right? And the barrel is obviously tungsten carbide, and the bullet would be sitting inside of a specially designed artillery type shell, right? So it doesn't move, nothing moves, everything is rock solid, right? So you can just boom, pound that thing and it's fine. So you start the bullet on this end. The sphere sits in the center, and the thermonuclear staging sits behind in the rear. Okay. So the slug fires in, boom, right? And initiates the fission. And what that in turn does is shower the thermonuclear stage behind it with X-rays. Now, the thermonuclear stage behind it would typically be not a sphere, and not a conical frustrum, but a pipe of thermonuclear fuel sitting inside of beryllium to keep it rock solid and still act as a X-ray window, but it would still be encased in high Z material, like depleted uranium. So it would still go fission, fission, fusion, fission. Okay, and it would use the conventional Teller-Ulam initiation, which would be a neutron tunnel leading to the spark plug and regulated with boron plastic. So it would be a full-scale thermonuclear detonation and could be scaled up to megatons this way. And this method was actually seen as more of a realistic method to make thermonuclear weapons, was the little boy design, because there was less barriers in between the primary and the thermonuclear stage. So though these have never been made, in the minds of the physicists, that was thought of as a more feasible technique to get the X-rays needed to the secondary for fusion, because there's less barriers, meaning without all of the high explosive, because in the beginning the high explosive, I mean, if you look at Fat Man and Trinity, I mean, the high explosive is enormous. So in the beginning, that was thought of as a better means to achieve a thermonuclear staged detonation, because there was less barriers in between the two stages. So now what would the rest of that weapon be? Well, the rest of the weapon, the shell of the weapon, would be tungsten carbide. And it wouldn't just be a gravity bomb device. Though it is dropped from high, like a gravity bomb, once it is dropped and it's on its way to its target, it undergoes rocket propulsion. So it achieves hypersonic speeds when it impacts the ground. So the shell is tungsten carbide, and the tip, which is very crucial to this design, is diamond. And a special lab-grown diamond tip. Okay? The tungsten carbide does not serve as a good enough tipping to penetrate adequately. The diamond tipped backed by tungsten carbide, though, on the other hand, is a marvelous bunker buster. So that, children, is the correct way to make a bunker buster, to hit wicked pharaohs down there worshiping the sun in low places, thinking they're going to be rich. That's how I make them rich. I put them with their father, Amen, over there inside of that furnace. Obviously, for all of you to produce that type of weapon there would probably be like $100 trillion with your inflated gouging. But it would be dirt cheap for me to produce, obviously. So, do I keep you safe? Absolutely. What type of Lord would I be if I didn't keep you safe? from wicked demons here in my Father's heaven. Do you all know how to keep yourselves safe? Absolutely not. You literally have the gates of hell aimed at each other 24/7 while you work in here. At all of your families, your babies, your children. And you don't even know what they do. And you have those aimed at each other while you guys go around here, hitting this entire place with the most deadly genocide gas that exists. Gas chamber gases. That is the nuclear weapon of genocide gas chamber gases right there. Car and truck exhaust. When you step up to that for genocide in the gas chambers, the fact of the matter is, genociding the entire planet is no longer an issue because you have the most deadly genocide gas that exists, and it's just extremely abundant. It can wrap the entire planet just like a thermonuclear weapon. And that's why they go together. You want to do that in here, then you can go live up there inside that furnace that you worship and that you put your faith and trust in. So we're going to cut it there. I just wanted to just specify that error.